Number 12, Tennessee holds off Arkansas for a 34-31 win here at Neyland Stadium. Alongside Patrick Brown, I'm Ryan Callahan with the GoVols 24/7 No-Huddle. It wasn't pretty, Patrick, but Tennessee got it done. They were tied at halftime, trailed a lot of the first half, came back, scored 17 unanswered to start the second half, and were in control. And then they let Arkansas come all the way back and make it interesting at the end. But the Vols find a way to hold on, and on a day when some other teams didn't win, they hold on to get the job done.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can just look at some scores that are going on elsewhere in this league right now. It's a very jumbled league, as Josh Heupel conceded after the game, and this one didn't go down to the final play like Georgia and Mississippi State, but Tennessee had a 17-point lead there and let Arkansas go down the field twice. And again, a lot of things to clean up. You know, the offense left a lot of points on the field. Defense gave up almost 500 yards. I think Arkansas was 7 of 13 on third down. Rushing defense, 240 yards. But Tennessee forces 3 turnovers. They had a 4th down stop there in the key sequence of the game that allowed them to get separation. The offense runs for 264 yards. Deshaun Bishop had a great game. They still made some plays through the air. So it's just, you find a way to win. And Josh Heupel said this after the game, if we could ever, put all 3 phases together, because in this game, the defense was off early. The offense picked them up a couple times, but then when the defense made some plays, it took the offense like 3 or 4 tries to capitalize on some of the turnovers and the stops they were getting. It wasn't until the play with Joshua Josephs and Jalen Perlotti that Tennessee turned a short field into a touchdown to make it 34-17. So if they could get everything together, he likes, he thinks they could be pretty good. But we're talking about this after the 6th game of the season, so maybe you kind of are what you are at this point. But Tennessee did get the job done. That's what matters most.
And they went into a game, we talked about it all week, where you didn't know exactly what you were going to face with Arkansas under Bobby Petrino for their first game with him as interim coach, a revamped defensive staff. They seemed to navigate, most of the changes pretty well, but and you knew Arkansas was capable of putting up some points, so it's not shocking that they made some plays and at least found a way to make things interesting. But like you said, just some concerning things. At the same time, Tennessee had to deal with some turbulence. Joey Aguilar gets a little shaken up there at one point. Deshaun Bishop leaves with an injury. Not a typical Chris Brazzell performance. That Arkansas managed to hold him in check today. So some things that didn't go perfectly according to plan. You had some untimely penalties that knocked them back, and one a 15-yard penalty by Lance Hurd that knocked them, kind of killed a drive where you were inside the red zone. So a lot of things that didn't go well, but they did manage to overcome it, and that's something good teams usually find a way to do.
Yeah, Aguilar said that they made it sound like Arkansas was doing some things to take Brazzell away. That's why they had Braylon Staley running wide open for a lot of the early part of the game. I think he ended up with 5 catches for 105 yards. I don't know if he caught a pass in the second half.
6 catches, I think.
Got Miles Coatsman involved in the pass game. Mike Matthews made some plays, but again, they just, Joey Halsey said this during the week, they're just leaving too many points on the field offensively. You talked about the sequence with Lance Hurd. There was a play that Miles Coatsman had a drop on that drive where maybe it's 4th and 3 or 4, maybe you go for it there. Some penalties with some false starts, and the snap infraction that Josh Heupel was not happy about it for the game. He made sure to point out, that there was it was 10-1 in penalties, his team. So he was like, well, I guess we got to play a little bit cleaner, which is true. But there were some calls that maybe should have been made that weren't made. But to your point, Ryan, I think we just need, and I think I might have said this earlier in the season, we might just need to kind of recalibrate on this defense. Like they're just gonna give up yards, but they've got to, they're gonna live on getting situational stops. Red zone, they got one early. Colton Hood made a nice play, and they're gonna have to rely on turnovers and sacks, tackles for loss. I think they had 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, I think, in this game. So they're gonna have to live off just making negative plays. They do need to get off the field better, but Arkansas is, and they were the 2nd best 3rd down team in the SEC coming in this game, so they're tough to get off the field anyway. And they've got to shore some things up in the run defense. There were just too many open gaps, I thought, particularly early in the game. I mean, Arkansas was hitting some big runs. That's not what you want to see. So they've got a lot of things to clean up, but the other team's going to make some plays, and you're going to make some plays too. And Tennessee made enough plays to get this one in the win column.
I was telling someone this a couple weeks ago after the Mississippi State game. I just have a feeling this team is going to be one of those that just kind of gives you a heart attack every week. 3 SEC games, they've won them by a combined total of 13 points so far, or they've been decided by a combined 13 points. Lost one of them, won 2. So at the end of the day, they're highly ranked. They're in the playoff discussion. Now they go to Alabama next week for obviously a huge showdown with the Crimson Tide. We'll have plenty of discussion about that throughout the week. But aside from the injury to Deshaun Bishop, you still have to feel overall pretty good about this team and think they go to Alabama having a chance to win that game if they play well.
Yeah, Alabama's been playing some close games too. They only beat Georgia by 3. Missouri went down to the wire today. Vanderbilt was in doubt in the final couple of minutes. So that's just this league. I mean, there's 3 games going on right now. 2 of them are within 1 score. Texas was left for dead. They beat Oklahoma, who everybody was hyping up for the first month and a couple weeks into the season. So it's just how this league's going to be. And so you're going to have to win in the margins. That's something that Josh Heupel talked about. That's something that Miles Kitselman talked about. These games are going to come down to just a couple plays here and there, and you've got to make more than you give up, and Tennessee's been able to do that so far. I mean, you look at it, they're a missed field goal away from being 6-0 right now, but they're also 3-4 plays here or there from being 4-2 or even 3-3 potentially. So that's just how this is, and there's probably a lot of teams you can say that about, though. That's just kind of how college football is.
It's kind of like the NFL in that way. It's becoming more and more like the NFL in the transfer portal era and then the NIL era, and that's kind of the way this season's shaping up for Tennessee. A lot of close games, and they've won most of them so far. 5-1, 2-1 in SEC play now as they get ready to head to Tuscaloosa for the third Saturday in October. Plenty of discussion, plenty of coverage already up on the site at GoVols247.com. Plenty more on the way throughout the weekend. For Patrick Brown, I'm Ryan Callahan.